Hello, Golden Eagles, and welcome to The Perch. I'm your host, Ethan Macy, and today we're diving into the life of the JV and volleyball coach, Mattie Drinkwater. Can you describe your overall coaching philosophy?
So basically, I feel that hard coaching is necessary in order to, make these girls successful on and off the court, but also loving them through everything.
Definitely. How do you continue your own professional development as a coach, and what previous coaching experiences have best prepared you for this role?
So I originally went to college in South Carolina. I went to Coastal Carolina, and then I ended up graduating in 2020, and I stayed in the state for 4 years, and I coached at a high school called Georgetown High School. So I already had 4 years of head coaching experience under my belt before I got here. But I am continuously researching all the time, whether that's new drills, new techniques, just anything that I can do to broaden my knowledge of the sport and potentially, help my team and players get to where they need to be.
Yeah. So what made you choose to come to Staunton River as a coach?
So my boyfriend is from the area. He is a Staunton River alumni. And so a lot of that had that had a lot to do with it.
How do you define success for your team, both on and off the court?
So success for me is obviously winning. Winning is our main goal. Winning is the main success. But it also comes down to, establishing relationships, building relationships, leaning on each other, being there for one another. And that goes for on and off the court. And my girls know that I am their coach, but I'm also somebody that they can lean on and that they can talk to in a time of need.
That's good. What is your approach to developing both individual players and team unity?
So over the summer, I gave the opportunity for some private lessons. And so that meaning one-on-one. And a lot of that one-on-one time was really, really crucial for a lot of these girls. So that's the individual aspect, really giving them the time to focus on certain skills. And then for team unity, we do everything together. We're very big into team bonding because you need to have that relationship with your team in order to promote the wins that we want.
Yeah, especially with yesterday. Y'all had a game.
Yes.
And then the power went out.
Yes.
And Roanoke Catholic had just showed up to the school.
Yes.
And came in. And the girls were playing music. And
yes.
They were all worshiping together around the board.
They were.
Which I thought was pretty cool. And that's very great team bonding, especially right there.
Yes, I was and that that had nothing to do with me. That was all of them. That's so good. I'm just very proud of that they were able to do that. So,
how do you structure a typical volleyball practice?
So we always start with our everydays, which consists of a lot of individual work just against the wall. They go through a series of fundamentals, and then they end up passing. We call it peppering. So they pass back and forth for a while, and then we just get into our specific drills. A lot of the times we're working on serve receive and serving. And then we always end up scrimmaging with JV at the end just to, get some gameplay in there.
How do you keep practices engaging and productive for all the skill levels?
So that's where my research comes in. So I'm always looking for new drills. We do a lot of the same drills because they work, right? And it's all about consistency and making sure that we perform to the best of our ability. But I also like to switch it up every now and then so they don't get tired of the same drills, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What is your approach to end-game strategy and making adjustments?
So basically, it just depends on how they're playing. So if I can see that there is a disconnect, right, and we've lost a couple points, a timeout has to be called. Yes. That's my thing. So we call a timeout, we reset, we talk about what's working and what's not. and then we go from there. But the timeout right off the bat is super, super important before that lead becomes an even bigger hole that we've dug ourselves.
How do you handle playing time decisions and communicate them to players?
So playing time basically comes from, so my motto is you play the way you practice. So if you're not going to show up to practice with 100%, then that shows me that you're not willing to show up to the game with 100%, right? So I basically gauge practice time. I see who's putting in the work. I see who's not putting in enough work. And that is how I make my decisions about playing time.
How do you set and track individual goals for your athletes, and how do you identify and address each player's strengths and weaknesses?
So in the beginning of every season, I actually have each athlete set a goal for themselves. And so we work through that throughout the season. And then at the end, I do a post-player evaluation, basically sitting down with each individual athlete, seeing if they met their goal, and if not, why, what they might need for the future. I also do a lot of reflecting after each game. So they all have their own journal. And so after every game that we play, they have to sit down and they write in their journals, and they do their 3-2-1s is what we call it. So they write 3 positives, 2 negatives, and then 1 thing moving forward for each game.
I like that. What methods do you use to keep players motivated throughout the season?
So we like to incorporate a lot of, things to do, and that's mainly falls under team bonding. So I think I structure practices a little differently every week. We do a lot of film. We watch film on Fridays, and they've kind of started to like that schedule. And then we have also started to plan some things. I think some of the girls want to go see a college game at some point, so we might make that a team bonding experience and all travel together. So that I'm excited for that.
How do you promote sportsmanship, discipline, and respect among your athletes?
So basically, they know that if they're a part of my team and if they're on my court, that they have to be respectful. They have to show good sportsmanship, because that is my goal. Is if you're going to represent Staunton River, you need to represent it appropriately in the right way. And so I really hold them to that. And I mean, we have no issues. I have amazing girls. All of them are respectful. And it's really just setting that bar right from the start. And so that's kind of my conversation to the parents during our parent meeting.
How do you build trust and rapport with your players?
Like I said before, I always tell them that, yes, I'm your coach, but I'm also here for you no matter what. So volleyball related or not, I am a go-to person that you can come and talk to whenever you need to. If you need help with something, anything. And so I have a lot of players that do come and visit me in my classroom in the mornings just to check in, just to say hi. And it has really built that rapport, and it just shows them that I care, Okay.
How do you handle conflicts between players or between players and coaches?
So really, any conflicts that happen, we talk about them, obviously. So I will have meetings with each individual player, whoever the conflict involves. And then we either think of ways that we can get rid of the conflict by working together, and a lot of just communication. Just really, it's all communication, and making sure that the girls are communicating with each other in order to hopefully not have conflict. And that's my thing, is that they are in high school, right? So they are responsible for being able to communicate themselves.
This Friday, there will be a varsity football game at 7 p.m. versus Pulaski at Pulaski.
This Saturday, there will be a cross-country meet at Christian Heritage Academy.
Monday, September 22nd, varsity volleyball and JV volleyball will be at Liberty High School.
Now back to the perch.
How do you balance competitiveness with ensuring everyone enjoys the experience?
So, especially on the varsity level, it's all the varsity level. It's mainly about winning. Like, we are here to win, right? But we also need to have fun at the same time. Okay, so it's really just making sure that there's a balance between that. And a lot of our fundraising that we do, I kind of make competitions between the varsity and the JV, and it's more friendly competition than anything, but it really pushes them to participate and want to give back to the program and things like that. So,
what inspired you to become a volleyball coach, and how did you get started?
So I played volleyball since I was in 5th grade, I believe. I've always had a love for the sport. It's always been my number one sport. I ended up quitting dance, quitting softball in order to do volleyball full time, meaning all year round. And then it kind of fell into my lap, honestly, when I was in South Carolina. I didn't think I didn't have the experience, so I didn't know what was going to happen. But over the years, I've fell in love with it. And my why for being here is my players. Like, they are my why for doing this. I want them to get better. I want them to be successful. And it's amazing to see the progress that they continue to make each day. So,
what qualities do you look for when selecting players for your varsity team?
I look for leaders. I look for good communicators. I look for those who put in the work, so hard workers. And then a lot of it has to do with specific skills and stuff like that, depending on what positions need to be filled. But those are really the main things.
How do you help your athletes balance academics and athletics?
So I always tell them that they're a student athlete. So they're a student before they're an athlete. And so the thing is you can't participate in sports if you cannot keep up with your grades, right? So I make sure to do grade checks every now and then. And then if, there are some girls that are struggling maybe in a class, I make sure to reach out to their teachers. I have them reach out to their teachers, see what they can do. And then if there's ever anything that I can do, I'll help them no matter what. But when we do different practice times, a lot of the times I'll have the girls go into the locker room and just work on their homework to make sure that they have the time to do it.
That's good. What inspired you to pursue your current career path?
So my mom actually is a special ed teacher back in New York. That is where I'm originally from. And so I've kind of grown up with her in that profession. And so really I followed in her footsteps, and I'm an adaptive special ed teacher here at Staunton River. And I mean, I love what I do. I couldn't love what I do more. So
how do you like to spend your time outside of work?
I love to read. I love to hang out with my boyfriend and our dog. We have a golden doodle puppy. We like to go out on the boat. We like to spend time at the lake. We like to spend time out with friends. And then when I can, I love to go home and see my family.
That's good. What values are most important to you in a workplace?
A positive work environment, support from higher ups, meaning administration, just communication. And I mean, I can't stress enough the positive work environment, because I've unfortunately been in a place that was not. It was a very negative environment, and that is very, very tiring on the mental health of someone. So,
who has been your biggest influence on your career or personal development?
Definitely my mom. Definitely my mom. She has taught me so much. I've learned so much from her over the years. And I mean, still to this day, we talk every single day, and she still gives me new ideas to use in my classroom. She still helps me, get through conflict and all of that stuff. So she is my rock through it all. So
that's good. So the important question we all have, especially with the parents, especially at the games, I actually hear this a lot, especially being there. They all wonder why you throw the clipboard on the ground when the girls make the wrong moves.
Yes, so that's my thing. I'm known for breaking clipboards, and all I can really say is that I care so much. That is my thing. I care so much, and I know what these girls are capable of. I know the potential that they have, and so when they're not performing to their highest potential, that's when it pains me to watch. And so yes, sometimes the clipboard will slip. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it shatters. And I work on that. I'm trying to work on that, but I need to show my girls that I am here for them. I'm in it just as much as they are, and that sometimes they just need to know that they need to play better, because this isn't who they are. So.
Well, I want to thank you for letting us interview you.
Absolutely.
And that concludes this episode of The Perch. And join us next week when we discuss random topics.